Hey, it's Marko here from Fair Realty. The other day someone asked me, would I buy into a building with a high rental occupancy rate? The way you determine the rental occupancy rate of a condo building is via something called a Form B that you get from the strata. And that Form B will state exactly how many units in that building are rented. So for example, if it says 15 units are rented, there's 100 units in the building, you know that the rental occupancy rate is 15%. Ideally, you want to buy into a building that has a very, very low rental occupancy rate, but has no rental restrictions. So you want to buy into an unrestricted building, but very few rentals in that building. So what happens if you're looking at a building, unrestricted rentals, and it's got a very high rental occupancy rate? And there's buildings in Victoria that have a rental occupancy rate of 60 to 70%, particularly downtown Victoria. At that point, you have to look at some other factors. Factors I would personally take a look at would probably be, does the building have a live-in caretaker? I find buildings that have a live-in caretaker that's on site every day, they're better managed when you have a high rental occupancy rate, because that caretaker, he or she can manage the move-ins, the move-outs, etc. I personally own a building with a very high rental occupancy rate where we have no live-in caretaker, and you can kind of notice it in the lobby. There's a lot of scuffs. You don't see some of the pride of ownership. The elevators get a bit beat up because there isn't anyone monitoring the situation there every day on site. Some other factors is the building concrete or wood frame. I would feel much more comfortable with a high rental occupancy rate in a concrete building. There's less noise transmission, etc., versus a wood frame. Some other factors you might want to think about are short-term rentals allowed in that building. So if you have a very high rental occupancy rate, but it's mostly short-term rentals, that's going to be even more turnover versus long-term rentals. So when you're looking at buying a building and it does have a high rental occupancy rate, I wouldn't immediately rule it out. I would look at some of the other factors. And for example, for me personally, if the building had no short-term rentals, had a on-site caretaker living at the building, and was concrete, that probably wouldn't deter me from buying into that particular building. That's assuming all of the other strata documents checked out as well. That's it for this week. Marko, Juras, Fair Realty.